I don't think this is that Bama team that you just say on the eye test, oh, they're much better than everybody else. Even with Tua, I felt that because of how young they are in defense without Dylan Moses, they just don't feel that way, and they don't have the resume. So I think they're going to sit there. What did you call it? Just a placeholder?
Yeah,
kind of just sitting there for now. And I think eventually you're going to see an opening, and I think that's where the Pac-12 champ, if they both get there at 11-1, I think the pole position to go by Georgia if they lose to LSU, by Alabama, is the winner of the Oregon and Utah game on that Friday night.
But it's the right place to have Alabama right now at number 5 because the committee's job is not to project and look forward. You evaluate Alabama on what they've done up to this point of the season. So now they're sitting at number 5, and they're trying to build their case right now against Oregon and Utah and someone from the Big 12 as well. They have to convince the committee that they're a top 4 team by the end of the year unequivocally. It was going to be very hard to do that without a conference championship if LSU wins that week. That's done for Alabama. So now that game at Auburn, that's the big audition with Mac Jones. And they need to win that game convincingly. To me, they need a result like Ohio State had back in 2014 with Cardale. Yeah,
well, they're not getting that again.
No, but I mean, but that 59-0 win, that was such a statement. It was one the committee could not ignore. Alabama needs a result like that with Mac Jones against Auburn, who right now only fell 3 spots with a 3-loss team. The committee respects Auburn. Alabama needs that with Mac Jones to have any shot.
And just real quick, don't forget, Oregon played Auburn. I mean, you have to be in that room, and there has to be a part of you that goes, I watched that game. And by the way, Bo Nix is probably one of those, I mean, he was a true freshman first start, so, I mean, you imagine he kind of gets better as the year goes along. So I just can't imagine being in that room and going, this Alabama team now that I've seen with Mac Jones, without Tua, if they beat Auburn by 21 points and handle Auburn's offense and handle them on that side of the ball, how do they not say that Alabama might still be in the mix to take over an Oregon spot? I just think I would be saying the same thing if I watched both teams play.
So when you're saying that if they handle Auburn, then they prove to be better than a Pac-12 champion,
yeah.
I still do believe that the Pac-12 champion needs to make a statement in that game. Just the fact that they're 6-7, that's terrific. I still believe there needs to be a statement. Rece, you always tell us about.
Tell me what you mean by statement.
Much like Ohio State, Wisconsin in 2014.
59-0?
Yeah. Then I'd be that.
Just decide.
Decisive.
Beat down. Not that bad.
You've preached to us that the rankings from 5 to 9 could be razor thin. And so I don't even think it would have been projecting forward if the committee would have sat back and said, without Tua, we simply believe that one of the Pac-12 teams is better than Alabama right this minute. The fact that they didn't. Tua's out. Now, we know Mac Jones might be really good. He's not going to be Tua good. And so even without Tua and a defense that Kirk just mentioned has not been playing Alabama-style defense, I would not have been surprised without projecting, but just saying, I believe that Oregon is a better football team right tonight than Alabama is without Tua, but
what about Utah?
So we'll see.
What about Utah? Like,
Talk to me.
I think Utah's better than Oregon. I mean, watching both these teams, I do think Utah's better. Now you see USC come in the bottom of the rankings. Where were they at? They were.
There's your problem, though, is Utah lost to a USC team that Oregon beat.
And Alabama's going to have a loss to the number 1 team in the country. So I don't think it's a done deal that we're going to go. But, yeah, Huntley is efficient as can be. Moss was injured in that ball game when they lost to USC. I don't think they lose probably without him. That's another thing the committee takes into account. So as much as we make that Oregon comparison, Utah's just plowing away and playing physical.
And all wins aren't valued the same. What I mean by that, Utah beating UCLA 49-3 is way more impressive this past weekend than it was at the start of the year when UCLA was losing to San Diego State early in the season in Cincinnati. UCLA had won 3 games in a row. The offense was rolling. Utah put a beat down on them this past week. I think the reason why Utah's behind Oregon right now is because the loss of USC, who Oregon beat by 32 points. Yeah. Now, Zach Moss, Huntley got hurt in that game against USC, but the non-conference schedules, they also don't match up. That's why you're seeing Oregon at 6 and Utah 7.
Let me throw something else at you, Kirk, right here, and you can jump in on this too.
He's ready.
He's ready. You know, some of the numbers and the metrics, and if you want to look at who you lost to, would favor Penn State over both of the Pac-12 teams. I know it's going to take care of itself this weekend, but if we're just evaluating up to this point, you could make a pretty strong case for Penn State based on metrics at least.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're going to see how Penn State has an opportunity this week on the road to avenge last time they were on the road against Minnesota. I just want to go back real quick, Rece, to the point about Oregon week 1 playing Bo Nix, who was a true freshman, and Bo Nix and Auburn are a better team. I don't know if I can personally take anything away from a week 1 of a college football game when you don't have any preseason games for any teams and you show up ready to play against a good football team for both teams. I mean, I get it's the same opponent, but I don't think you can hold a lot of weight from week 1 to week 12. Teams are so different. Yeah, it's the same opponent for Oregon and Auburn and Alabama and Auburn, but I don't know personally if I can take a whole lot away from, hey, Bama beat them by 24, and you know, Oregon lost to them, so that means Alabama must be a better team. I don't use that logic personally.
Well, but you have to count the game for something. Or else, why do you play them? I mean,
well, yeah.
I totally agree with you,
course.
and I think that's why we don't have a formula and we have subjectivity involved in it, too, because you can look at it and you say, did Alabama beat a better or worse team? That kind of thing.
I think you could also just look at teams, and I think the truth is that they get better and they get worse. And I think you could make the argument that Oregon's a better team now than they were in week 1 as well. Juwan Johnson at wide receiver.
For sure.
He's a problem. He didn't play till the Colorado game mid-October. He's 6'4", 230, dunking on people right now. And Kayvon Thibodeau, a defensive end, the #1 player from high school a year ago, he's making more plays too. So to me, teams do get better and they get worse. I would actually argue Oregon's a better team now than they were that week 1 loss.
Herbie, what are you going to say? Go.
Well, I just going to say the exact same thing. Or we're talking a lot about Auburn and how much they've improved with Bo Nix, but Oregon, even though they have some experience, especially at quarterback and the offensive line, they were banged up out at wide receiver. They are a very, very different team. Think about how that defense has performed, not every week, but they have played much, much better than where they were, I think, early in the year. They've just grown. Continuity has grown. So it's all subjective. And the thing about Oregon and Utah, who cares? More than likely, they're going to play each other. So that one's going to work itself out. Whether you're 6 or 7 or the other one's 6 or 7, they're eventually someone's going to have to win that game, and that team that wins will eventually emerge, whether it's Oregon or Utah.
Hey, thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more scores, highlights, and analysis, you can download the ESPN app. You've got the ESPN app, right?
Honestly, on Saturdays for college football fans, if you don't have the ESPN app, that's the lifeline for every college football fan. So you have to have that. The live streaming now, ESPN Plus. To me, it's the only way to go.
ESPN Plus was key for me recently. Got to get ESPN Plus. Arkansas State, Troy, down to the wire.
Loving it.
Superdog winner. Thanks to ESPN Plus.